Brother, put the phone down for 10 seconds. Forget the memes. Forget the movies. Forget everything the internet told you about Sigma males. Because there is one question I keep hearing. Why would any man choose this life? The isolation, the silence, the loneliness, the constant feeling of standing just outside the crowd. Why would anyone willingly walk into that? Here's the cold truth almost nobody tells you. He didn't choose it. Most of us never did. Life chose it for us. This is Sigma Male Chronicle. Now stay with me. No noise, no coping mechanisms, no pretending, just you, and a mirror that doesn't know how to lie. I've read the comments beneath my videos. I've heard the same confusion in everyday conversations. People see the archetype, the quiet man, the independent man, the one who doesn't chase approval, and they ask the same question every time. Why would anyone deliberately do this to themselves? They imagine someone waking up one morning and making a decision. From today on, I'll reject society. I'll embrace solitude. I'll become unbreakable. They picture secret routines, 30-day challenges, a lifestyle, almost a performance. It sounds dramatic. It even sounds attractive, but it isn't true. Not even close. Most men people now call Sigma never chased an archetype. Most of us had never even heard the word. We weren't trying to become mysterious. We weren't trying to look emotionally detached. We weren't searching for an identity. We were trying to survive. That's where the misunderstanding begins. People confuse the result with the process that created it. They see composure. They don't see chaos. They see independence. They don't see abandonment. They see discipline. They don't see the years spent losing control. They see a man standing calmly in the fire without asking who threw him into it. Because that's how it usually begins. Not with strength, with pain. Many of us were simply children who never quite fit. Maybe we thought differently. Maybe we noticed things other people ignored. Maybe we felt everything more deeply than we knew how to explain. Whatever the reason, we stood out. And children can be brutally honest in ways adults often forget. They mock what they don't understand. They isolate what doesn't belong. Day after day, they teach you a lesson you never asked to learn. Trying to belong hurts. So something changes, not all at once, slowly, almost invisibly. You stop speaking as much. You observe more than you participate. You begin protecting thoughts you once shared freely. Not because you think you're better, because experience taught you that not everyone deserves access to your inner world. Eventually, solitude stops feeling like punishment. It becomes shelter. You don't choose to be alone. Being alone becomes the only place where you can finally breathe. Then life tightens its grip. Childhood is only the first lesson. Adulthood has harder ones waiting. For some men, it's a broken home. For others, betrayal, addiction, bad decisions, violence, prison, loss, consequences that cannot be undone. My own road wasn't clean. It wasn't heroic either. Addiction entered my life quietly, like it usually does. It didn't arrive looking like destruction. It arrived looking like relief. It whispered exactly what I wanted to hear. This will quiet the noise. This will help you cope. You're still in control. Until one day, I wasn't. The thing I believed I was controlling had quietly taken control of me. Relationships collapsed. Trust disappeared. People who loved me paid for decisions they never made. And somewhere along the way, I convinced myself that becoming harder meant becoming stronger. I was wrong. Hardness isn't always strength. Sometimes it's pain wearing armor. Then came the silence. The kind of silence you can't escape. Cold walls, locked doors, hours with nowhere to run. No distractions, no excuses. Only one person left in the room, me. That is the place most people spend their entire lives trying to avoid. Because that mirror never negotiates. It remembers every lie, every excuse, every promise you broke, every person you disappointed, every moment you chose numbness instead of truth. Standing there, you only have two choices: keep lying or finally look. Some men build thicker walls, some become bitter, some spend the rest of their lives blaming the world. Others break just enough for the truth to get in. And that is where everything begins to change. Not because the suffering was noble, not because pain magically makes better men, but because for the first time, you stop fighting reality. And when you stop fighting reality, you finally have a chance to meet yourself. This is the part almost nobody talks about. People admire the finished man. They admire the calm, the discipline, the boundaries, the ability to walk away. But they never see the cost. They never see the years when nothing made sense. They never see the nights where the only victory was surviving until morning. The characteristics people now call Sigma weren't selected from a menu. They weren't built to impress anyone. The independence, the emotional restraint, the refusal to chase approval, the comfort with solitude. None of it was designed. It was what remained after everything false had been burned away. The armor wasn't fashion, it was survival. That is why I struggle when I see people trying to become Sigma on purpose, as if it were a challenge, as if 30 days alone, a few books, and a cold shower could recreate what life spent years carving into another human being. You can imitate behavior. You cannot imitate experience. Real transformation never comes from copying someone else's identity. It comes from confronting your own. Most of us never had an exit. Life closed those doors long before we understood what was happening. Then years later, someone gave it a name: Sigma. The label came last. The fire came first. I know that because I lived it. My father was an alcoholic. When he drank, our home stopped feeling like a home. His anger searched for someone to blame. Most often, it was my mother. Sometimes, it was me. I still remember hiding, listening, trying to guess from the sound of his footsteps what kind of night it would become. As children, we think fear is normal because we've never known anything else. You don't realize you're surviving. You think you're simply growing up. Those years teach you strange lessons: how to read a room before speaking, how to disappear without leaving, how to carry tension in your body without anyone noticing. Skills that help a child survive, but quietly imprison the man. Years later, I made choices I deeply regret. I hurt people who never deserved it. I burned bridges that could have led somewhere beautiful. I confused numbness with strength, escape with freedom, pride with dignity. Rock bottom wasn't loud. It wasn't cinematic. There wasn't a dramatic soundtrack playing in the background. It was something far worse: silence, the suffocating kind. The moment you realize that every excuse has finally run out. Prison gave me something I never expected: time. At first I hated it, then I feared it. Eventually, I started using it. I read everything I could get my hands on: history, philosophy, anything that could explain why people become who they become. Eventually, after I had read the books everyone recommended, I reached for the ones almost nobody touched. Psychology. That changed everything. For the first time, I wasn't looking at criminals, or addicts, or victims. I was looking at human beings, at patterns, at childhood, at trauma, at defense mechanisms, at the invisible threads connecting one decision to another. It felt as if someone had quietly switched on a light in a room I had lived in my entire life. The room hadn't changed. I had. Suddenly, pieces that had never fit together began finding their place. The frightened child, the angry young man, the addict, the prisoner, the man searching for meaning. They weren't different people. They were chapters of the same story. That realization didn't excuse what I had done. It did something far more important. It made responsibility possible. Because once you understand yourself, you lose the luxury of lying to yourself. You stop asking, "Whose fault is this?" and start asking, "What do I do now?" That question changed my life. Not overnight. There are no overnight transformations. Real change is painfully ordinary. It is built in small decisions. One honest conversation, one temptation resisted, one apology made without expecting forgiveness, one morning where you choose discipline instead of escape, again and again and again. That is the part social media rarely shows. Transformation isn't a moment, it's a practice. Carl Jung called it individuation. The Stoics called it mastering yourself. Call it whatever you want. The name doesn't matter, the work does. Because the goal was never to become some mysterious archetype. The goal was to become a man who no longer needs to run from his own reflection. That is why I don't judge people who ask honest questions about the Sigma archetype. Most have only seen the internet version, the edits, the quotes, the silence, the black clothes, the man who walks away without looking back. They see the surface and assume it was all a choice. I understand why. From the outside, it almost looks intentional, but appearances rarely tell the whole story. A man who is comfortable alone is not always a man who wanted to be alone. Sometimes, he simply discovered that his own company became the only place where he could finally stop pretending. The calm people admire was once chaos. The discipline was once desperation. The boundaries were once wounds. The silence was once pain that couldn't find words. People call it confidence. Very often, it's acceptance. Not acceptance of defeat, acceptance of reality. And reality is where every meaningful life begins. There is something the world constantly gets wrong. It tells us healing means returning to who we were before life hurt us. I don't believe that. Some roads cannot be walked backward. Some fires change you forever. You will never become the person you were before, nor should you. The goal isn't to recover your old self. The goal is to become someone wiser, because that old self no longer exists. That is the gift hidden inside suffering, not the suffering itself. There is nothing beautiful about addiction, nothing noble about violence, nothing romantic about prison, nothing admirable about watching people you love pay for your mistakes. Pain is not the teacher, truth is. Pain only forces the lesson to begin. What matters is whether you have the courage to stay in the classroom. There are still days when the past whispers. It reminds me of who I was, of the bridges I burned, of the people I hurt. That voice never completely disappears. The difference is, I no longer let it decide who I am. Because your past can explain you without owning you. That may be the most important lesson I have ever learned. We spend years believing we must either deny our past or be imprisoned by it. Neither is true. You carry it, you learn from it, then you keep walking. That is freedom. Not forgetting, not pretending, walking anyway. If you are watching this and you feel different, if you've spent years wondering why you never quite fit, if life has stripped away every illusion you once depended on, don't waste your energy chasing an identity. Don't chase the word Sigma. Don't try to imitate another man's silence. Earn your own. Face the mirror. Tell yourself the truth. Accept responsibility for what belongs to you. Refuse responsibility for what never did. Build discipline. Protect your peace. Forgive where you can. Walk away where you must. And never confuse bitterness with strength. Because strength without compassion eventually becomes another prison. The strongest men I have ever met were not emotionless. They simply stopped letting emotion drive the steering wheel. They learned to feel deeply without surrendering direction. Maybe people will continue calling that Sigma. Maybe another generation will invent a different name. It doesn't matter. Names change. Human nature doesn't. There have always been men who were forced into solitude, who rebuilt themselves after losing everything, who learned that character is forged in private long before it is recognized in public. The Stoics understood it. Jung understood it. Millions of ordinary men have lived it without ever giving it a name. So no, I don't believe you choose a Sigma life. I believe life chooses the fire. Life chooses the moments that strip away illusion. Life chooses the tests that force you to meet yourself. But after that, one choice still belongs to you. You decide whether suffering becomes your identity or your foundation. That choice is yours, every single day. The fire may have chosen you, but the man who walks out of it, that man is built by his own decisions. If this message found you when you needed it most, don't keep it to yourself. Share it with one man who's still fighting quietly, not because he needs another label, because he needs hope, because someone out there is convinced they're alone in what they're carrying. Maybe this is the reminder that they're not. And if these conversations help you see yourself and the world a little more clearly, subscribe to Sigma Male Chronicle. Not because I have all the answers, because I'm still walking the road too. No masks, no performance, no pretending. Just one man telling the truth as honestly as he knows how. The fire chose us. What we become after the flames is our answer. I'll see you in the next one.